Seeing some frost flowers here, so it's been cold in the night. Gosh, it's good to be here. So this forest that I'm walking through now, this is definitely one of my retreats, one of my refuges. So much beauty here, natural beauty, even in the dead of winter. And yeah, I come here regularly, and seem to be coming back more often than I used to, because well, as I mentioned in my last week's video, I've been pretty anxious and depressed for quite some time, partly related to COVID, the long haul. Oh gosh, we've got mist coming into the forest here. So beautiful. I don't think, not in that direction, but up here above me. Wow. And I noticed last week when I came here, I had this just powerful lift, and I'm feeling it again today. I'm just looking around and I'm seeing beautiful windows there, actually almost everywhere I look. It's very green this time of year, and so it's a good time to be here. I really want to talk about trauma, because in this period of anxiety and depression that I've been going through, I've been working really hard at a therapy that has worked for me in the past. It's a form of cognitive behavioral therapy, and it's called schema therapy. And the schema therapy has been less effective, but I persevere. And one of the things that I really became aware of was the role that trauma plays in people's lives. And lots of times we don't think we are the victim of trauma. And yet, there's places where we're stuck. There's places where we'd like to grow and we're not. And there's emotional struggles that we have and can't seem to break through on. So I was led to the Trauma Super Conference. That was very helpful. And I've been doing some reading. So I'm going to find my way to a log up here somewhere where I can sit down. I'm just going to cover a couple of points on that, and then I'm going to get to photographing this beautiful forest. Wow. So anyways, I hope you have a few minutes and you can join me on this journey. Just this hint of mist in the trees adds so much. But it is cold, so let me find the information I wanted to share with you. So I've been reading a couple of books, and the first one is called Feeling Great, and it's another one of the cognitive behavioral therapy models, using the team model developed by Dr. Burns, and I'm pretty committed to that one. But as I was mentioning, on the kind of flip side of cognitive behavioral therapy, there needs to be something that integrates the body and the experiences that we've had that have really contributed to our shutdown, our feelings of being stuck and defeated and broken and that kind of thing. So I heard a podcast interview with Paul Conte and ended up getting his book, and it's a fantastic read. It's called Trauma, the Invisible Epidemic, How Trauma Works and How We Can Heal from It. So that is a recommendation coming from me for sure. And as I've been trying to get my head around this idea of trauma, I've compiled a few quotes, and some of them are worth hearing. So I'm just going to read a couple of them. The most sort of straightforward one, I think, which really kind of would make sense to most people, is Catherine Aubrey. She does some training for HSABC, one of the training services that we have access to at Island Crisis Care Society. And Catherine says, trauma is extreme stress that overwhelms a person's ability to cope. And so that's pretty straightforward. That's a nice simple definition to begin with. But as we dive a little deeper into it, we start to hear some other takes on trauma. Dr. Amy Apigian, if danger, perceived or real, causes anything that overwhelms our system, we go into an energy conservation state, and that is trauma. Dr. Peter Levine, who's perhaps the best known person working in the field of trauma, says, people are overwhelmed and traumatized because things have happened too fast for them to process and respond and integrate. Things have happened too fast for them to process, respond, and integrate. I heard Britt Frank talking about Peter Levine, and he was saying that trauma is when we've had too much, too soon, too fast for our system to adjust. And I quite like that, actually, and I think that's true. Tara Brach, another definition of trauma that I've used for many years. Trauma is when we have encountered an out of control, frightening experience that has disconnected us from all sense of resourcefulness or safety or coping or love. Disconnected us from all sense of resourcefulness. And that sense of disconnection, Gabor Mate, trauma is a disconnection from the self. And then Paul Conte from the book that I was mentioning, he points out that there's acute trauma, chronic trauma, and vicarious trauma. I'm not going to go into those. Suffice it to say that if we accept what these therapists are saying, these researchers and scientists, it's really true that trauma occurs to all of us, and to greater or lesser degree, often related to our privilege. So the more safety we have in our lives, the less likely we are to experience trauma. And the severity of the trauma can be less. So Britt Frank says that in order to recover from trauma, we need to be safe, we need to feel safe, and we need to have a sense of resourcefulness, or things that we can resource to help us. And with those prerequisites, then we can heal from our trauma. And so I'm excited to learn more about this. It's been on my mind, so I thought I would just do a quick video about it. And I think the message that I'm wanting to get across to people is that this pandemic has been a very low level stress on our life. And so if you add that low-level stress to other stresses, they compound. And what happens is that you can be pushed outside of your window of tolerance. So all of us have a window of tolerance with stress. And as you know, as things happen in life, we get pushed into our window of tolerance, and then we get higher and higher and higher in our stress levels. And then at some point, we get pushed out of our window of tolerance. And now we're experiencing too much stress for our system to handle. And it doesn't matter how courageous you are. It doesn't matter how hardworking you are. It doesn't matter how determined you are. If you're pushed outside of your window of tolerance, your system simply is going to become activated. You're going to go into fight or flight, and or if it gets really stimulating, you're going to go into shutdown. And Dr. Apigian was talking about how in our world nowadays, many people are operating right at the top of their window of tolerance most of the time. And so when they get pushed by a little bit of added stress, they're immediately into fight or flight. So every day, people are experiencing the fight or flight. And then if you're spending most of your day in fight or flight, then when you get to some semblance of safety, you go into shutdown. And that becomes a pattern. And so you're fluctuating between stress, fight or flight, shutdown. And I've heard this referred to as, oh, I won't remember it now. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me. I'll put it in here when I remember it. So nevertheless, we really need to give ourselves the time to come down and to come into a sense of safety so that we can break that cycle and return to the state that's called sympathetic in our nervous system, where we are resting and digesting. So the message that I'll leave you with is that we as humans are all wired this way, some to lesser or greater degrees. The more sensitive you are, the more susceptible you are. And so imagine your life, if your life has resonated with what I've been talking about, if you identify with that and you have safety in your life, then it's an opportunity for gratitude. And it's an opportunity to think about folks who don't have a sense of safety in their life and so are never able to deal with their trauma. And one of the things that Island Crisis Care Society does so well is we provide safe, supportive housing for people so that they can come down from that heightened sense of threat, heightened sense of danger into a sense of safety and have the opportunity to heal and recover. And that's really the hope that I cling to myself, because the more people that we can help to recover from trauma, the better we're all going to feel and experience, because as a group, as a culture, we're not doing too well. So we really need to come together and support each other in this. So that's it. I'm walking with Coldest Night of the Year again this year. And so if you're interested in sponsoring me, I'd really appreciate it. The money goes to Island Crisis Care Society and the work that we do, helping people to feel and actually be safe. And both are important. You do have to both be safe and feel safe. And so if that's something that you'd like to support, then please consider sponsoring me. Now I'm going to take some time in this beautiful forest, with all the beautiful mist, just subtle mist, so gorgeous. And I'm going to bring my own level of stress down, and I hope that you have something in your life where you can do the same. Many blessings.